Hey guys, my name is David Ruff, and we are going to be covering special assessments today. Now, this is the word that strikes terror into people and it can ruin them financially. So, we're going to learn what it is, how it comes about, and most of all, how you can protect yourself. Hey guys, my name is David Ruff. I am a real estate broker in Canada. We operate an entire team in the Greater Toronto area, but we actually act as consultants for people all over the world in Europe, in North America, Australia, South America. We have a business where we help people build wealth ongoing. We run 4 companies. We have a lot of investment properties. We built properties, so we know what we're talking about. So we come across this often. In the United States, they're called homeowners associations. In Canada, condo corporations, all the same type of thing. But we're going to be getting into what is those special assessments. So let's jump straight into our presentation that we have prepared for you today. So if we look at the screen behind me, we're going to be covering what is these special assessments. I tried to really dumb it down, so you let me know if it's something that you like. But special assessments. Now let's just take this building here. This forgive my crude drawing. I'm not a good drawer. I put a little car here for scale. So it's an entire building with lots of floors, and there's many people living on every single floor. Of course, that if something broke, let's say that there was a pump in the basement and it's pumping water all the way up to everybody. What happens if something breaks in this building? Well, obviously it has to be repaired, and then the costs are split between everybody, right? Now, if we wanted to be very specific, how do they split the cost? It's always by square foot. So if you took a million, no, I don't even know, $10,000 expense, and there was 1,000,000 square feet in the entire building, then they would just divide these two, and then you would know what it is. Like your unit might be 500 square feet, might be 1,000 square feet. The larger your unit, the more you would pay. So actually, when you see your payment, it will be broken down that your unit, maybe you're in unit 203, will be responsible for 0.13% of the building, and it might be 0.05% of the parking lot. You'll have a percentage tied to your unit. So when there is a total cost, like let's say that the cost was $10,000, you would be able to multiply it by that percentage, and you will have that on whatever certificate you got from your lawyer, what your bank is. If you don't have it, you can always go to the homeowners association or the condo corporation, and you can get that from them. So you'll know how big your unit is. Cool. All right. So we just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea. This is really, really simplified, but let's say that your building, the entire building, brings in $1,000,000 per year in condo fees. That's what they've decided, that the entire building has to be charged. Everyone that lives there, we're going to charge them $1,000,000. How are they going to charge it? Always by that percentage. Always by that percentage, right? So they're going to charge you that. Now, let's just say that they had $800,000 of expenses and $200,000 left over, right? So they would take that $200,000 and put it in a rainy day fund. Now, it really depends what state, province, whatever that you live in. They're going to call it different things. Normally, they call it a reserve fund. Sidebar. How do you decide how that $1,000,000 gets spent? Who does that? Well, the entire condo building has a vote every now and then. Could be every 3 years, every 5 years, depends. Normally every 3. And they'll vote amongst themselves, which one of us here is the coolest? Which one of us has the best business savvy? And so they will vote certain people in. So it's like an independent little tiny form of government. So they'll put that $200,000 into a rainy day fund, and that'll be sitting there every single year. Okay. So now that we know how we got there, that's all voluntary, obviously. They have duties. And so one of their duties is every 3 years, it depends obviously where you live, but normally every 3, there has to be a condo study or a feasibility study. Sometimes they change the names. Now, this is usually done by a lawyer firm, and they're specialized in doing this. So really what they're actually going to be doing is they're going to be coming down to the building itself. They're going to be doing an investigation. They want to know, okay, there's a boiler down there that makes hot water. Maybe the boilers are supposed to be good for 25 years. and it's 10 years into its life. So they say, you got 15 years left on this puppy. And they start doing calculations. We got to start putting money aside now for the next 15 years, because when it does happen, it's going to be a whammo, a big price to pay. So they kind of break it all down into parts, right? To try to figure out exactly how much money is it going to cost them over the long term, so they can adjust your condo fees enough. So this is where they want to make sure that the rainy day fund is big enough and that they're doing all the safety things they have. Now, they normally call it a reserve fund. It may be different where you are. And this comes the huge whammo of a question. What happens if there is a huge bill? Well, you would say, I hope there's a rainy day fund. Okay, so just for ease of sake, okay, we gave it a little example up above. What happens if they took in $1 million of condo fees and they had 800,000 of expenses, but they had 200,000 in a rainy day fund? Let's just say it was only 1 year in, okay, just for ease. So I have $200,000 in the bank, but there's a $400,000 repair. Uh-oh, we're short. We're in big trouble. I need $200,000 more. Where do I get that $200,000? Because nobody has it. Nobody has $200,000 just sitting around. So this is where all the owners will get together normally, and they're going to vote. Here is the vote. Do you want to pay everybody $20,000 per apartment, or however they break it down? Do you want to pay $20,000 one time, right now, one shot, one check, and get it over with? Or do you want $400 a month for the next 4 years? This will always be greater, right? Because now they have to pay interest on stuff. But which way do you want to go? Do you want to pay it all one shot, or do you want to pay $400 a month? So, by the way, this is not an individual thing. This is a collective thing. Remember, you live all in the same building. So, what happens if 75% of the people in the building say we want to pay one shot? And you're like, damn it, not me. I don't want to pay it one shot. I want to pay it by month. Sorry, majority rules. That's what happens when you live in a community. So there is a lot of pushback sometimes. So there's certain people that don't want to pay it. Nobody ever wants to pay it. Why would they want to pay it? Everyone's angry about it, always. So what happens in that case is, if you refuse to pay it, the condo corporation will put a lien against your home. So you will never be able to sell the home without clearing that debt. And remember, interest will be running on it the entire time. So you can't get away from it. There's no way of denying this at all. So it comes back to what I was saying here in big red letters: protect yourself. I want you to get a really good realtor and get a really good lawyer. We need to go over the documents, like the condo study. We need to go over that condo study, or wherever it's called in your area. We need to go over the offer and how the offer is being broken down, because this could change everything inside the offer, if they will pay for the special assessment or not. Also, the status certificate will be telling you. So this is kind of like, no matter where it might be called something different. There's always a stack of paper, which is like the condo Bible. It has everything about it, all the expenses, all the repairs that have been done. And we're always looking for something called something similar to that, like a reserve fund or a contingency fund. It's also called that sometimes, contingency, depending on what state and province that you're in. And we need to review that condo study. We need to go over all of that stuff all the time. Now, let me give you some examples. I'm actually going to write this down, because this example is actually quite shocking. I had a friend of mine. He had a condo. The condo was worth $500,000. The condo over time had increased and then became $800,000. So he's now celebrating. At the same time that this happened, over the course of 5 years, that the unit has gone so much up in value, at the same time, there was a massive repair needed. And when the massive repair happened, they levied all of these condo fees on them. So his condo fees went from $500 per month to, guess what? $1,700 per month. Nobody on the planet wanted to pay this. Nobody. So guess what happened? The price that he had paid had started to drop. He ended up selling his unit After 5 years later, guess what his price was? He sold the unit 5 years later for $400,000. So he not only he thought that he made a lot of money up to 800 grand. He thought he did really well, but because this special assessment happened, he lost a lot of money. So could we have prevented it in this case? I never read the documents. I didn't help him buy the unit. But we see this all the time. This happens. So this is why it's so important that the building has a strong contingency fund, that it has a strong reserve, either one, however they call it, that the status certificate has no lawsuits against the building in any way, making sure that the offer will cover any special assessments that may come up or raises in condo fees, because there's a lot of sly guys out there. Just imagine for a second, if you sat in that meeting and you knew about the fees were going to go up, you knew about a special assessment coming. It's in your best interest to sell that puppy as fast as you can, right? But you can't do that. You can't hide it because that it'll all be in those documents. But if you don't have a good realtor and a good lawyer to review all of that, no point. You're going to be out. So always use a lot of caution, my friends. Special assessments can bite you. Now, let's look at an article that really shook me up. Now, this happened here in Toronto. This was just in the news. Ontario condo owners are furious after being hit with a $20,000 special assessment. As you can see here, rows of townhouses, all connected. In Aurora, Ontario, community has 200 townhouse condominium units. Recently, the board of directors sent a notice to the owners that $3.5 million is needed for renovations, and the units had to pay their share. What did we just learn? Obviously, their contingency fund or the reserve fund was not large enough. I just want answers, and they won't give us anything, says one of the owners. He's been there for 3 years. Well, maybe he didn't look at all the paperwork, because that happens. No, sometimes things happen that they don't foresee, right? It says that the repairs, because her balcony was removed from a unit 10 months ago and a fence has been put up around the property. I don't know. She pays $740 a month in maintenance fees. Woo! And she has been told that she must pay a special assessment of $19,687 next month. Just remember what we had said before. She was already paying $740 a month. So if she was already paying $740 a month, they might add another $400 to it for the next 4 years, maybe $500 for the next 3 years, just to clear that off. So obviously they voted, and they voted the people that live there to pay the $19,000 one shot. Obviously they don't want to do it. It's a lot of money to hand over, and we're being told there won't be any work done for a year. Well, yeah, they got to get the money together first to pay them, right? We are being told what work is being done with this money. We are also not being told what work is being done with this money. Well, you have to go to a meeting, and you can ask about that. There's a ton of paperwork always. It says the townhouse complex also has an in-ground swimming pool, but despite humid summer, it's not open. Residents say it's not been open all year. Well, this is also an ongoing fight. A lot of things break down, and as things break down, they don't want to pay for it. They don't want their fees to go any higher. So if they don't want it, they won't have any money to fix it. Other residents complained about it. They contacted the news. Yep. They didn't want to identify. This always happens. This is every time this happens. And I mean, this is almost like a weekly thing. It says that the board of directors approved a special assessment of $3.5 million, which will allow for the completion of the approved projects, including balconies, windows, carports, door replacements, as well as roof repairs and repairs needed to reopen the pool. Wowzers. Okay, you guys, now we have to talk about this. Okay. So I want you just to think about this. Let's read it one more time. So you see, they approved the 3.5 million, and it will allow them to put on a new balcony, change the windows, add a carport, door replacements, and roof repairs. Okay. We need to talk about that. So just think about this. Their units that they're living in right now I don't know. Okay. May be worth, let's give me a number, $500,000 as it sits right now. But by the sounds of it, it sounds pretty decrepit, right? A lot of things are broken. Nothing is working. That's why they can only get $500,000. But the moment that they pay that 20 grand per person, they're going to go now fix the pool, put a carport, repaint everything. They're going to put a balcony on it. They're going to do all of these things. What do you think the value of your property is going to be worth after they do that? What do you think it's going to do? The property value is going to explode. It's probably going to be the best investment you've done in your life. So to pay $20,000, your home value might go up 100 grand because of all that work that is being done. It comes back to you. Let me give you another example. We bought in a building in Toronto, a nice building. They had accumulated so much reserve money, $3.5 million in the reserve. Everyone's mad. I've been paying all this extra money, blah, blah, blah. And I know that nobody wants to pay it up front. But then finally they made a decision. We're spending, I think, 2.5 of the 5 million, or no, I think it was spending 3.5 million of the 5 million that they had. What they did is new carpets everywhere, new paint everywhere, brand new pool. They put brand new change rooms, brand new gym, brand new library, brand new party room, brand new everything. And guess what happened to their unit prices? Their unit prices went up around $200,000 per unit. Per unit. So though your fees may be higher, you're going to get it back. That's my main point of saying it. So in this case, they're using that $20,000 to pay for improvements that will help you make more money. That's a good one. But what happens if you're in a building like we did in our scenario and there was a huge bill that was unexpected? Now you're just paying to fix something. And those ones really hurt. Anyway, my name is David Ruff. I'm a broker here in Toronto. We have an entire team that covers the Greater Toronto area. If there's anything I can do for you, I'm always here. I'm always here for your health, wealth, and happiness. If this helped you at all, gave you any value whatsoever, could you like this video and subscribe to it? I would really appreciate it. And just send it to maybe one friend that you think this would help. Anyway, I'm always there for you. Have a great night.